Obviously, we're seeing Green Bay's offense starting to come together a little bit. Do you think they should make a strong push and go out there and try to get Odell?
It's a tough question. I think I'm a bit on the fence, but I would lean towards no, because we do recognize that Watson and Dobbs have two very prominent drops. But if you watch the course of all of their games, those guys are pretty good. They're getting better. They're focused more on the running game. I don't think that they need OBJ the same way the Rams needed him last year, and frankly, the Rams need him this year. I think that Aaron Rodgers in those young receivers and getting Tunyon back at tight end and the running game that they have and the way that their defense is playing, I think this team is building towards something, and Odell Beckham Jr. won't hurt it, but I don't think they need him the way that you might perceive the deficiency they have at that position right now. And Barry Bonds is obviously the home run champ.
Well, listen. Here's the deal, Domonique Foxworth.
You're right.
You're right about that last comment in regards to Barry Bonds, but you're wrong about what you were saying with Odell Beckham Jr. and the Green Bay Packers. And I have the ultimate argument against you. You usually don't. You don't hesitate whatsoever. You had a little bit of trepidation.
A little bit.
It's a little apprehensive. I get that. That's not who you are. So the fact that that is the case, I already got you. Here's the reality of the situation. Come playoff time, you rely on veterans. Yeah. You rely on reliable targets. Now, I understand that Odell Beckham Jr. has not been his teammate, but Odell Beckham Jr., when healthy, is an electrifying talent. Obviously, he has spoken to Aaron Rodgers in the past. I can tell you that. I know that myself because Green Bay was one of the landing spots that he was considering. It was Green Bay, it was Kansas City, or it was the Los Angeles Rams. And obviously, you prefer to be in Los Angeles. Who wouldn't compared to those two other locations? That's just the way it is. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. If the Rams don't want you, and I don't see why they wouldn't, all right, you got to think about where you're going to land. And because of his years in a Giants uniform, he damn sure doesn't want to go someplace where you don't have an elite quarterback. Right. He knows how desperately he needs that. So you're talking about a guy like Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football with his electrifying skills and his ability to get open. I believe Odell Beckham Jr. would have been the MVP of the Super Bowl had he not gotten hurt. He was en route to becoming the MVP of the Super Bowl. You just saw it. With just 2 receptions alone, he was about to put on a show. But with all of that being said, here's the deal. Romeo Dobbs, I think that he's going to be really, really good. The brother's got skills, and he's got tremendous potential. Randall Cobb seems to be getting younger, not older. Give him a lot of credit. Of course, Sammy Watkins as well. But you are what you are. There is dust on that birth certificate. You've got age and attrition that kicks in. Usually as the season wanes, correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes that comes back to bite you. And so I'm thinking that you're going to need an additional receiver. And who do you want? You want a brother that could get open and that can catch the damn football from a guy like Aaron Rodgers who's going to give it to you. I definitely think that this is something that the Green Bay Packers should absolutely do and pursue if they can.
I have one negative, but I'm with him. One negative. Here's the problem with Rodgers.
That hurts your argument, by the way. That hurts your argument a little bit.
I have one issue that I'd be a little worried about because Rodgers, to a fault, threw the ball to Davante Adams incessantly, cost him in the playoffs against San Francisco. He didn't throw the ball to Lazard in overtime or the last possession wide open. It would have won the game. He forced something deep to Adams. He's a little down on these young receivers. He gets Beckham here. All to do is look at Beckham to the detriment of his other younger players. That's the only negative. Yeah. But the positive, Stevie, is 100% right. If Beckham, he should be in the Lambeau. He's got the great quarterback. He's rescuing his career. They got a chance to win it all. He can get open. Rodgers will love him. I don't see how they have a weakness at the position. I don't see how that could be a bad deal.
It's a bit of I don't think they have a weakness at the position. I think that these guys are growing and learning, but it's a bit of an overreaction or assumption to think that just because Aaron Rodgers is good and just because Odell Beckham Jr. was good last year that he's going to go there and it's going to work out. I think we have to understand that Odell Beckham, what happened to his reputation last year was a positive overhaul. He spent that time in Cleveland, and we were talking about him and his dad kind of coming after Baker Mayfield. We were talking about Odell Beckham. Maybe he's just a one-catch guy. He's not really the great player that he was. He went to L.A. just for a few weeks and went off, and then was headed to be the MVP of the Super Bowl, and the way that we think about him changes. So I think given that experience, Odell Beckham himself, he has to be very conscious of the next place he goes. And it's not assured that if he goes to when he went to Cleveland, we were able to chalk it up and say the reason why it didn't work out was Baker Mayfield. Go ahead and go to Green Bay. If it doesn't work out, ain't nobody going to blame Aaron Rodgers. If he goes back to the Rams where he's already solidified himself as a key piece to that puzzle, he comes back and he helps them immediately, I think that helps that team. And assuming that receiver is not a position that you can just walk right in. You talk about chemistry. You talk about working and learning. You don't just throw somebody in the fire normally and have it work out. It worked out for them with the Rams last year, and I think you're playing with fire if you're either Green Bay or Odell Beckham. You're playing with fire if you think that, he's really good, I'm really good, just drop me in this situation, it's going to work out. The same thing could be said for Allen Robinson. We thought Allen Robinson was really good, and we thought Matt Stafford was really good, dropped him in there, it didn't work out. It doesn't always work out, and assuming that you can drop him into that situation, it's going to immediately help you, I think, is a mistake. They know that it works in LA, they don't know if it works in Green Bay, and I don't know if it will.
I blame a little bit on Stafford with this whole thing with Allen Robinson. How come he doesn't get the ball? He throws the cup every single time.
I brought that up the other day.
He never throws in the ball. Once in a while, you look.
Yeah.
It's either, and I look for Hippie. Can you throw in the ball once in a while?
Dom, let me tell you, because you're the one that played. Let me tell you what I said the other day. I said this. I made the same point that he made, but the reason why I hold Stafford so accountable as well is similar to Matt Ryan in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. I understand you needed to run the football. You didn't need to throw it as much as you did. The head coach, Kyle Shanahan, was the offensive coordinator. Quinn was the head coach, blah, blah, blah. You've been in the league as an all-pro for years. You've got the cachet to go to the coach and say, what the hell are we doing? Come on, man. We don't need to continue to do this. You're Matthew Stafford. Must you be so transparent and throwing Cooper Kupp the ball all the damn time? And we got to, and one of these days, you and RC and Swagoo and the rest, y'all going to have to educate us about the politics of the National Football League. And I'm going to say this why. They said Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, they got a relationship. They developed. What the hell I got to do with him being double teamed and Allen Robinson being open? Yeah. Ain't you supposed to be throwing to the open, man? Ain't that Allen Robinson, last time I checked the ball? Yeah. He's no scrub. We're talking about a dude that's got 9 receptions in 4 games.
Never gets the ball.
9 receptions, he never gets the ball. And then, with Ryan and other, you got these, whatever quarterback you want to pick. They develop these relationships. What the hell are you talking about? You can ball, you can run routes, and you can't. You can get open, you can't. You can catch, or you can't. Yeah. It shouldn't be an issue, but I'm hearing too much about that, Dom.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.